Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about what happens when you outsource your brain to ChatGPT.
What we get is a generation of young men who have no idea that scrambling eggs might require mixing and are genuinely alarmed at the prospect of writing literally anything.
Yeah, although that one is on the ladies too.
Yeah, that is just the full generation.
It's week 3 of Love Island USA. Today we are getting into episodes 8 to 13. As always, a quick disclaimer, as opposed to our usual Bachelor style, we will not be hitting every single detail. It's just like 7 hours of TV.
More.
These episodes have been, well, they're like 5 episodes, but they're longer than an hour. So
they're all
it's
90 minutes suddenly.
Even when I see like 18 minutes, I'm like, that's way too close to 90 minutes for my comfort. So we won't be covering everything. We're going to try to get into as much as we can. A lot to dig our teeth into this week. A little housekeeping before we start. If you missed our earlier recaps of Love Island USA and our wrap up on Farmer Wants a Wife, scroll back in the feed. We have some beautiful love stories to tell you about in Farmer Wants a Wife this season.
So beautiful. Also, of course, we recently moved Rich Text over to Patreon. Our most recent subscriber episode was about part 3 of the Summer House reunion and the Valley. We have an episode coming soon about every summer after and off campus, kind of comparing and contrasting these two shows, both adaptations of novels. We will also be discussing the aftermath episode of Summer House within that conversation. So we're going to get into a lot in this week's subscriber podcast on Rich Text, and you can find those conversations and more at patreon.com/richtext.
I just noticed that it's actually every year after, which it's not a good sign that we can't remember what the name of the show is. It's fine. I think it's funny.
Okay. I keep confused. The book is every summer after. I actually did know that the show was every year after, and I heard a rumor that is because Jenny Han did not want them to use summer.
That was my theory. I was like, is summer too closely identified with the summer I turned pretty?
Yes.
Okay. Well, bad branding decision, regardless of the conditions under which it was made, because it's confusing me. With that said, let's dive into the topic at hand. Love Island USA, Season 8, Episodes 8 to 13. Let's go. Let's start with episode 8. Trinity and Bryce are starting to have issues. And this is a very inauspicious way for the week to begin because I was super high on Trinity and Bryce
and
at
to
the
be
end
fair,
of last week.
By the end of this week, I am yet again super high on them.
I mean, I'm always high on Trinity, but
yes.
Their vibe together, I just like. I'm rooting for it. I want it to work out. I like him around her. When he's with Zach, I'm not so impressed. I want him to stick with Trinity. And Bryce he's thinking about exploring. He wants to pull Kayda.
I am laughing, which is the same reaction that Zach has when Bryce tells Zach about this plan. He's like, "Oh, you're serious?"
Yeah, everyone laughs. He tells like 4 people and they all laugh. So this starts when Trinity tells Bryce that she feels like they're moving slower than some of the other couples and she doesn't want to compare, but she does think she wants more affection from him because she really likes him. And in response, Bryce goes to Zach and says that he's starting to think Trinity doesn't like him because she's comparing them to other couples and she's saying that something is missing from their connection. And Zach loves to kind of pry a girly apart from her man.
This becomes a theme, and I'm like, does Zach just want one of the other dudes who's been with his lady for a while to jump ship so that he has permission?
I think it might be strategic. Like if another couple thrives, then his couple is less likely to win. Like I saw someone
he really
point
wants
out
that $50K.
I think so. Someone pointed out that or asserted on Threads, like Zach is who we all thought Ace was. And I thought about it and I was like, I think Ace was who we thought Ace was to begin with. But the thing that people worried about with Ace in part was that he was really trying to destabilize other couples and discourage other connections, seemingly out of like the desire for competitive advantage for his own couple. And as he keeps doing this with like Aniya and Trinity, it's like,
what's going on here? Guy, every single episode this week, I was just like, we need movie night. We need movie night. We didn't get any last season. Maybe we need 2. We need a pre-Casa movie night because we now know that Casa is starting, I believe, June 22nd because they're doing like a theater event.
Love it.
For it. Love it. But I'm like, maybe we need 2 movie nights.
I think they owe us a movie night because they didn't do one last year.
Exactly.
So Zach is feeding into this. He's like, yeah, I kind of think Trinity doesn't like you. Why would she like you? It seems like it just doesn't make sense that she would like you. There also sometimes seems to be a certain amount of like racial undertones to me when Zach is talking about how Trinity and Bryce don't make sense together because like they're best friends. Trinity and Bryce are always hanging out, chit-chatting and gossiping and cuddled up on each other. Why does he think they don't make sense together? It's odd to me. So later, Bryce decides that he might talk to Kayda, and he tells Zach. Zach laughs. Zach thinks it's a joke, but it's not. Trinity is also crushed when Bryce tells her that he wants to talk to Kayda. I also wanted to note that Bryce did something else that pissed me off this episode, which is that he wears black loafers with white athletic socks by the pool with shorts.
I fucking love that he brought loafers to Fiji. Incredible choices being made.
I know. He and to wear them during the day.
Right, like you gotta save those for your formal wear at like the end of the season.
Yeah, it reminds me of the time that Greg put on boat shoes with basketball shorts, and I couldn't even look at him for like 3 days. You think because you're a model you can do that, Bryce?
That is why we went on a break. I ended our engagement. So something else that's going on during this episode is that Sincere is doing his fuckery with Melanie and with Soul. Melanie talks to Aniya after she finds out that Soul and Sincere kissed. And she's like really doing a good job, I think, trying to like stay composed despite being very sad.
Yeah, and she started to do things like really use those coping mechanisms that a lot of people are recognizing from therapy. Like she's looking around at what she can see. She's like, there are green trees. Like I feel the cool air. Like she's trying.
She really is trying. Justice for Melanie. And the next day she talks to Sincere. She gets like a little agitated and because she's anxious. She's like, Soul's going to take you. I'm not going back to you if you go with Soul. That's going to really hurt my feelings. She will go back with him. But she ultimately ends up asking him if he still wants to explore with Soul. And he says no because he is a little chicken shit weenie.
I saw so many people saying, oh, it's because he's scared of Melanie. Melanie scares him. He's not able to be honest because he's scared of Melanie. He is not scared of Melanie.
She is not a dangerous person. I'm sorry. Stop this.
I'm sorry. Like, the idea that it's her fault that he's not telling her the truth because she is upset when she learns things that are upsetting to her is bananas. Like, this man can take ownership. He can tell her the hard thing.
Also, he's allowed to explore. The thing that's fucked up that he's doing is lying about it. He then immediately tells the camera and the guys that, of course, he wants to keep exploring with Soul.
Right. That's the thing. He knows he wants to explore with Soul, and he doesn't want to have an uncomfortable conversation with Melanie, who at this point has done nothing worse than like cry and get emotional. She has not yelled at anyone or like cussed them out. She hasn't threatened him. Like, she's just someone who is attached to him, and she's going to have an emotional reaction.
Yeah, sorry, them's the breaks, dude.
I can't deal with him. They all like, he sits around with all the guys and they're encouraging him to test his connection. And Sincere is like, you know what it's like? It's like, what's the saying? You only see a burning house because you're sitting in it. And Bryce says, no, you only know your house is on fire when you leave it. Guys, it's neither of those things. I don't know what saying you're referencing, but you can probably tell just from saying it out loud that neither of those things make sense.
To be fair, most of what Sincere says doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, I was like, you can see a burning house from outside of it, but you also don't need to leave your house to know that it's burning. So why would either of those things be the saying? But Sincere loves a metaphor that doesn't make sense. It's 95% of what he says. So Sincere toddles right over and invites Soul to soul ties. They snuggle up and he asks her where she got her name, like presumably from her parents. And he rubs her arm and kisses her hand and they gaze into each other's eyes. And she says, I think your name is fitting.
You haven't spent enough time with him.
Yeah, based on what? And that night, after all this exploring, Sincere tells Bryce that he still wants to consider Mel. Because it's like the three little pigs. And they're different houses. Is it?
Will they all be knocked to the ground?
Right.
And or burned down? I mean, I guess in that sense, yes.
He's like, relationships are like houses that are destroyed. Yeah. And fish. Mel, Kenzie, Corbin, and Bea all are in the midst of exploring their options because they're all looking around and they're like, do I really have the connections that I need to stay in this villa long term? Mel pulls Corbin and tells him that she hates being called Mel. I'm so sorry, Mel.
I'm sorry. Sometimes we have to, just for time.
She prefers Mella, I think, which I get. She thinks Mel sounds like Melvin. As soon as he establishes that he likes her vibe, he says, can I have a kiss? And she
ladies.
And she says, not yet, because she wants to like talk to Kenzie. She's still figuring things out with Sincere. Like, it's not the right time. And Corbin's like, I want it even more now. Now I really want the kiss. But he feels that the ball is in her court because he asked for a kiss. And I think maybe that's why he keeps asking for kisses, because he loves to just put a ball in a woman's court and be like, she'll circle back to me.
It's his favorite pastime.
He's like, I asked her for a kiss. Now when she wants a kiss from me, she knows where to get it. Like, and I've done my part.
Mel talks to Aniya and vows to talk to Kenzie before it gets out. Unfortunately, Kenzie is going to find out on her own.
Yeah,
but
someone else tells her, interestingly enough.
After this, Mel sees that Sincere is still canoodling with Soul and admits to Aniya that she feels disrespected by him, which, fair, he's very disrespectful.
He's been like holed up in Soul Ties, which is like
hours.
The private makeout spot that they all know about, for hours, like all day.
And she's like, okay, I'm going to just go pull Sincere. And KC rushes over to stop her. And honestly, I think this was a good move.
I think it probably was a good move because it gave her a chance to regulate her emotions before they talked, which she clearly needs. But I also found it like a little bit annoying how everyone, well, initially the women are sort of like clearly unsure. Like Aniya and some of the other women are like, okay, go talk to him if you want. That is normal. It's normal if your connection has been holed up with someone else for a long time to eventually, Aniya does it like the next episode, to eventually walk over and be like, hey, can we chat now? I want to know like where your head's at. And I think it's like feeding into the impression that Mela is dangerously over emotional and she can't be allowed to have like normal villa interactions because she's like a ticking time bomb. And I don't think that that impression is fair. I agree with that.
I just, as someone who wants Melanie to like get the thing that she wants, I think she was better served by taking a beat here.
Yeah.
Like I just suspect it would not have gone the way she wanted, not by any fault of her own, not because she's emotionally unstable, but because Sincere was just going to be annoyed to be pulled away from Soul, and it wasn't going to like endear him to his current connection.
It was going to be a conversation that did not go well. And she's a little bit emotionally impulsive. I'm the same way. So I get that. And part of it, like part of my reaction is maybe that I feel annoyed seeing her be infantilized in this way when I'm like,
well, I think in general, there is just this sense that a woman expressing any kind of emotion is somehow inherently dangerous. But men doing manipulation is is also the woman's fault.
Right. It goes all the way back, like the constant throughout history of like men playing games with women's minds and then women being emotional. And everyone's like, oh my God, look at that hysterical lady. Like she scares me. So instead, she quietly cries on a lounger while Bea and Aniya try to comfort her. Meanwhile, Bea pulls Corbin and asks about his dreams. Like, does he want kids? And he says he wants 3 people.
This sent me.
I want to have 3 people one day. He's glitching. He's glitching out.
He is. He's
like, sure, I can get right on that question for you. I think 3 people is a great number of kids for a family.
Need to shout out here up top, J Cubed Hacks, the creator who coined CorbinGPT. And pretty clearly, the editors have seen her videos.
Yeah, they're playing it up. And then he says he wants a girl and then 2 boys, because that's how that works.
To be fair, this is not a Corbin-specific thing. We see 20-somethings on dating shows doing this all the time.
And I will call it out every time, because if you still think this is how it works, you're not ready to have kids. He says then he will put 1 boy in football and 1 in basketball.
The 2 kinds of boys.
They're action figures. I'm going to get the girl one first, and I get the boy ones, and 1 will be football player, 1 will be basketball player. Do they have their own interests, Corbin?
They're 3 people, Claire.
The girl doesn't have interests, but he had her first, I guess, so she could be the nanny. I can only assume. Bea tells him to put the boys in golf so they can close deals, and that's thinking ahead. Corbin then randomly tells her that he chatted with Mela and she's the only other woman in the villa he would consider kissing. Subtle.
He's like, just FYI.
He's like, now there are just 2 women to whom I have the question. Can I have a kiss?
Kenzie, meanwhile, is telling Caleb that they, quote, have a lot more in common than she does with Corbin. What could those commonalities be?
Yeah. Interesting question. Maybe we'll find out more. She tells him that she likes to be pursued, but I will note she does not bring up the lion and the gazelle. Suddenly she's not looking for a lion to pursue her like a little gazelle. But Caleb does say he's a lover boy.
So I think in a way he has actually a lot in common with Corbin and every other man in this villa.
I'm like, at this point, have any of the men not described themselves as a lover boy?
No, they are all self-identified lover boys.
Kenzie does end up finding out about Corbin and Mela from the other girls. I think Kayda, I forget who tells her. It's not Aniya who agreed to keep it a secret. And she flips, like, immediately. She starts melting down. She pulls Mela that night to ask about it. And Mela then does tell her pretty directly what happened. It's unfortunate that she did not figure out a way to tell Kenzie sooner, because word gets around in this villa. But she did say that she was going to tell her. And when asked, she tells her quite directly. Kenzie says she's hurt by Melanie. And she tells Melanie that she should focus on fighting for Sincere.
This was so annoying to me. First of all, she has been. And also, it's not going well because Sincere is pursuing someone else.
And also, so many people in the house clearly want Sincere to drop her for Soul because their connection has been chaotic. And so he's getting really encouraged to explore with Soul from many directions. And then it's like, oh, Melanie, give him space. Don't crash out. Like, don't ask for too much from him. Is she supposed to just sit there, like, perfectly still, waiting for him to remember that she exists? Or can she talk to the other guys?
No, this really pissed me off.
But Melanie apologizes. She says she'll come to Kenzie first in the future, and I thought she handled this really well. I do think that, like, the early conflict with Bea was, like, a reality check that she kind of needed, and she has clearly made the decision to handle these kinds of conversations with more, like, humility and, like,
and she's done a really good job. Like, she does exactly the thing you would like someone to do, which is learn from their mistakes and be able to self-regulate.
But what drives me nuts is that people make up their minds so quickly about who each of these people are and don't want to see growth. And like maybe she hasn't grown. Who knows? I'm open to changing my mind again about Melanie throughout this season, right? But to see the most normal, thoughtful, rational responses being reframed as manipulation and like cunning from Melanie just because people have already decided that everything she does is bad and comes from a selfish and bad place is really irritating to me. Like the hoops people will jump into to be like, Melanie is actually manipulating Kenzie here. Melanie's just trying to make people feel bad. Melanie's just trying to get attention. She can't do anything right in some people's eyes because she had one emotional breakdown.
The discourse has put me fully onto Team Melanie. I'm having a reaction.
I'm very protective of her now. What are the kids saying now? That's my client.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get into more of Love Island USA episodes 8 through 13.
And we're back with episode 9. Bryce finally tries to shoot his shot with Kayda, as was foretold in episode 8.
Obviously, he gets immediately shut down.
I mean, it's so clearly kind of rote. And so an Islander from a past season made a video last week making the point that probably the reason that Zach also unclosed off with Kayda and that Bryce maybe tried to start exploring with Kayda as well is because production probably yelled at them.
Yeah.
She said this happened on our season. It happens every season. People want to close down and production sits you down and is like, you have to explore. That is the show. Like pull people for chats. Don't close down week 1. And
close
that
off.
Makes a lot of sense.
Close down.
Don't close down. Don't
like,
close
don't
off.
shut it all down.
But literally, I think that explains a lot of what's going on in the Zach, Bryce, Kayda, Trinity
I think you're
situation, where Trinity is trying to move the relationship along, and so is Kayda. But Zach and Bryce are like, oh, I think we're supposed to be
open
examining. So I guess I'll just like try to explore. Bryce doesn't even really seem like he cares to be having this conversation.
No, and he seems to be aware that he's about to be rejected, which
it feels like box checking, right? Like it feels like he's like, I'm just here to have this conversation because I have to have this conversation and then it can be over and we can all go back to how things were before. And yeah, Kayda like basically laughs at him too. She's like, we're just friends. And while Bryce is talking to Kayda, Zach and Trinity are chatting about what's going down. Trinity doesn't know that Zach has doubts about how into Bryce she is. And so he kind of brings up, like, how much are you really upset by this? Like, how are you really feeling about Bryce? And she's like, well, I'm catching more and more feelings for him every day. And even he's like, what if your exact type came in? And she's like, I wouldn't just like leave him.
No,
like,
she's like,
maybe
I would have a conversation, but I actually would not jump ship.
And Zach seems really taken aback, but interestingly, I don't think we have any indication that he ever tells his best friend that his couple is really into him. Why does this never come up? We see a lot of them talking about Bryce's doubts that Trinity is into him, but we never see Zach say, well, I talked to her.
And she said she's really into you.
She's into you. Interesting.
Meanwhile, Sincere and Melanie continue to be in their terrible back and forth, where Sincere continues to downplay his obvious interest in Soul. He pulls Mel and he's like, I've been a piece of shit. Probably.
Correct.
And he wants to be in his connection with Melanie, but also he does finally admit to her that he has kissed Soul like a bunch more times.
They were basically making out for an hour in Soul Ties. And I think she even asked like how many times. And he's like, I don't know.
He's like, I don't like sit there counting. This leaves Melanie in a position where she's like, I'm not stepping back, but I probably need to explore too. You kind of have one more chance.
Yeah, she's like, last strike, buddy. If you lie to me again, we're done.
We're done. And as they're getting into bed that night, they are all lovey-dovey again. And Aniya just calls it out. She's like, y'all are so fucking toxic. Y'all have terrible fucking communication.
People say that Aniya kind of babies Melanie about this love triangle too much, but like this is like the most direct thing I think anyone ever says to either of them. And Sincere whispers to Melanie that it's not going to happen no more, presumably the kissing. But the next morning, he makes breakfast for both Melanie and Sol because he's doing balance. And Bryce tells him he's doing too much. I think this is normal. Like, even last season, I feel like if you had two connections, you would make breakfast for both of them.
Yeah. I was hard to tell exactly what Bryce was reacting to. Because I was like, on the one hand, like, Sincere is doing too much because he's not being honest.
He is. It seemed like it was about the breakfast.
Yeah, the breakfast thing is not my main concern.
That girl needs to eat. I'm sorry. Like, who's going to make her breakfast?
Caleb was making breakfast for both of the bombshells.
I see what you're saying. But if you are pursuing a connection with someone, you're supposed to make them breakfast. Or
you do what Corbin does later, which is just like a little pancake for Kenzie.
A little Valentine pancake.
Not a full breakfast.
A little love letter. Brinity. We're going to keep doing this. Brinity chat, Bryce and Trinity, and he apologizes again for pulling Kayda. Again, it just seems to me like he felt like he had to pull Kayda to make something happen.
Especially after this conversation. That's what really sold me on that theory, because he's kind of like, I'm sorry. I did that. I don't feel strongly for her. But during this conversation, something that I was wondering if it was like kind of lurking in the back of Trinity's mind comes up. And she brings up the interracial element of their relationship and her fears that Bryce might stick with her and then just jump to a type of woman that he's, quote, more comfortable with or, quote, used to. And she says, I don't want to fucking catch feelings for you. And then a brunette girl comes in, model type, looks like Kayda, and you're off for it. And this made so much sense to me. Like, I think any dark-skinned Black woman on a reality dating show is going to be considering this dynamic. And especially on Love Island, when you have seen what happened between like Janae and Kenny on season 6.
Right, who ended up together and dated for a long time after the show until she learned through texts of his that he was kind of using her for clout and was not interested in Black women.
Yeah.
In case you're all not familiar with the backstory, but like that is the kind of specter that can hover over women who are dating in this context. And I think like his friend, I noticed, had said on social media that like Trinity is like exactly his type and is the person that he would have expected Bryce to go for. But Trinity doesn't know that. She only knows what he's telling her. Meanwhile, Bryce is constantly like starting to bring up like, well, what if your type comes in? That can kind of, I think, sort of feel like projection. And maybe like he's fixated on the fact that they're not the kind of person that people would expect to pair together. And I think would maybe create even more insecurity in her.
Yeah,
if it were me, I'd be like,
exactly why she is feeling uncertain.
Right.
And then the Kayda conversation is going to magnify those fears. But ultimately, their conversation ends in a good place. Trinity tells the camera that she knows who Bryce is as a person. He was honest with her, and he's out of the doghouse for now, but he's on thin ice. She's got her eyes on him.
We have a challenge, the Sweetest Pie Challenge, and Sierra Miller and Teffy, the new After Sun hosts, show up to host. This challenge is, I think, well designed to create hurt feelings and drama, and that's exactly what it does.
That is the point of a challenge. That and simulating sex.
Yeah. Well, I saw someone point out, like, why aren't the challenges ever leading to, like, winners and dates? And I do agree with that. I think we need more challenges that offer something other than drama. But we've actually have seen some challenges in the past that didn't even lead to drama. So
right.
I'm like, I'll take this. It's more than just people getting covered in slime. So the Islanders are split into boys versus girls. There are nice questions where the team has to select someone from the opposite team to kiss. And for naughty questions, they select someone to pie with a cream pie in the face. And there are some telling choices. For the Islander most likely to string several people along at once, the girls choose Sincere. Jen
And
has the pie.
I think this
and
is like
says-
the best thing Jen does
Yeah.
all in this entire batch of episodes.
I know. She's annoying me. She says, I know you're sincere, but you're not honest. And he seems confused. He's like, I've been so honest with both women.
Sir, you're delusional.
What's his definition of honesty? Bea speaks on behalf of the girls for who would be most likely to tell you if you had spinach in your teeth. And she kind of waxes poetic about what a caring and nice and considerate person this man is. And then she kisses Caleb. Gabrielle seems to have thought it was for him. Like, he's definitely looking pretty pleased when the speech is happening, and then when it's not him, because he like normally people send over the person's partner to deliver the kisses, but Caleb doesn't have a partner at this point, so they send Bea. Little misleading for Gabrielle. He's not pleased. The boys happen to choose Bea as this answer for the same question, so Caleb and Bea end up kissing twice. Is there something there? Gabrielle seems to think so.
He's just mad. The boys end up choosing Sol for a few of the naughty questions. And it seems to me like maybe there were questions we didn't see because the way that she talks about it later, like we see her get pied twice. But it feels like maybe it happened more than just twice.
Yeah, I know we didn't see all of the pies. Like, people get pied that we don't see being pied. Like, they cut it down to the ones
like,
that are
fair
most
enough.
dramatic.
Thank you. We don't need to see all of them, but I have to assume that this was like a bigger pattern than just 2 times. The questions we see are who's most likely to ghost and who's most likely to break girl code. Their rationale is like, Sol's a bombshell. She's here to get the thing she wants and doesn't care if she has to step on like Melanie's toes. And Zach is the one who pies Sol for that latter question. And she just covers her face and like breaks down into tears right afterwards. And she's just like, why am I getting pied for this? Like, I'm talking to Sincere because he's like the only fucking person who's open to talking to me. And she has to step away after the challenge to weep. It's sad.
Yeah. She's like, I hate this villa. She's really feeling targeted and hurt. And I think it's interesting that, like, a lot of the reaction I saw was that this was happening because the girls were bullying her, but the boys are the ones who decided who to pie. And you'd have to think that her main connection, Sincere, would be giving input on which things she's getting kissed or pied for. And he's also influencing the men's perceptions of her. So, like, why are we assuming that it's the women?
Fault? Also, the women are the ones who rally around her to try to comfort her. Like, we see that happening.
And then Bea says that the boys picked Sol for questions they should have picked Melanie for. She says, I'll stand 10 toes down for that, and I don't even have 10 toes.
I'm like, where is the evidence that Melanie is ghosting or breaking girl code?
Well, that's the thing, is that Bea doesn't like Mel, clearly.
Bea hates Mel, even though Bea keeps going on social media and insisting she has zero problem with Melanie. All the evidence is pointing in a different direction.
Like, I don't see where Melanie has broken girl code, like, any more than anyone else here. I guess she ghosted someone in high school because he was trying to use marriage to pressure her into having sex, which I think is like the most valid reason to ghost someone, because that's creepy. And when Sol is asked if she's ever ghosted someone, she says yes. So, like, I don't know.
A lot of people have.
A lot of people have. I'm sure we saw some that were more fitting to Mel that
maybe
weren't
they
shown,
those.
But it really came off as Bea just not liking Mel, not thinking she's a good person or a good girlfriend, and so she thinks that Melanie should have just gotten pied for all of those kinds of questions. Okay, like, I don't think Sol should have either, but someone does have to get pied, and I don't think that Melanie necessarily earned those pies in some way.
No, I think it just is going to inevitably suck if you feel like you're being targeted for a lot of questions. It becomes humiliating. And that's
and
like
the
not
boys chose to
necessarily
do that.
Yeah.
they should have spread them out more if it was a situation where they were targeting. And it does feel like they're kind of trying to have it both ways, where they're supporting their OG girly that they've known for a long time, but they're also really encouraging Sincere to explore with her and to keep doing the things that are making Melanie emotional and stressed out. And it's all just in service of Sincere having two fragile, vulnerable women at his disposal. So after the challenge, Sol is weeping, and Melanie tells Sincere that she wants to talk to her. She's like, I feel bad. And Sincere's like, why? What are you going to say to her? Like, don't do that.
He just doesn't want these two women talking to each other.
It's getting weird that they're not talking. And if I have one real critique for Sol, it's that even as a bombshell, at some point, I feel like she should have pulled Melanie, who has a pre-existing relationship. They're not making an effort to compare notes. Like, you gotta talk.
You gotta learn about the lies of this man.
KC does go up to Sol and says he wants to talk to her later. He's like, I know you probably need space right now. You're really emotional, but I just want you to know, like, I'm here for you. Like, I want to talk to you about it.
Gabe and Bea also have a confrontation about what happened during the challenge. And he's frustrated. She's frustrated that he's frustrated. But ultimately, they clear the air like a few hours later and seem to be back on track. So it doesn't do any like lasting damage to the relationship.
Other things do lasting damage to the relationship.
Yeah, like eliminations. That night, while the girls are getting glam, Sincere again tells the guys that he wants to explore with Sol.
This man. Melanie tells Trinity and Aniya that she hates seeing another woman hurt in a love triangle, and she knows it's not Sol's fault. It's Sincere's fault. She's like, he's leading two girls on. She even remains calm when Sincere pulls Sol into the speakeasy for a chat. And I think this seemed disingenuous to a lot of people because Melanie was like kind of rubbing it in Sol's face when she and Sincere made up, and she's been kind of like staking her claim to him. To me, I think that these women, Sol too, are like happy when they have the upper hand, when they think they're going to get the man. They can get a little smug about it. But I don't think that they actually enjoy seeing the full repercussions of what that can lead to. Like when you actually see that Sol is not just like a hard-edged bombshell who's trying to take your man. She's like a person with feelings who feels hurt and humiliated. I think it's natural to be more empathetic in that moment.
Absolutely. Sincere and Sol chat in the speakeasy, and Sol breaks down in tears again. She's like, I just feel like no one even has cared to get to know me. Sincere reassures her that she's one of the most resilient motherfuckers that he knows, and he's there for her, but they do not kiss again. This is like the one time he shows some restraint.
Because he's given a pep talk. He does love to tell a woman, like, you're resilient, you're strong, as she's like weeping and a mess. He's like, you can do this, get back out there. Ariana comes in, as she is wont to do, and she tells the Islanders that they're handing the power over to America.
And it feels important to note that this vote, the results occurred on a delay.
Yes.
Because there was a crash in the app. So we thought that the vote was going to be revealed in episode 8. They waited until episode 9. And I do think that if people had seen episode 8 before voting, it might have gone a bit of a different way. I also just personally, I hate voting on who the bombshells should couple up with.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's genius because one of the hardest things to get I think we see this on Perfect Match. One of the hardest barriers to drama in a show like this with bombshells is that people, even after a day or two, develop a sense of loyalty to their partner. They know that other people also will see them as disloyal if they leave them. You have to kind of like really intervene to give bombshells a real chance to steal a couple. And so personally, I kind of think this is a good way of doing it. I don't think any other show has figured out a better way of doing it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a compelling argument. I think what's interesting is that we ultimately, just a few episodes later, end up in exactly the same place.
Right. And what I don't like also is doing a dumping based off of
I
a
guess
recoupling.
actually I should clarify that is my frustration. That that like the end result is a dumping that is hard to kind of triangulate when you're voting. Because like a lot of us, I think we voted just for the bombshells to couple up with the people they had the most initial chemistry with, which like makes sense.
Right. Like, why would I pair Jen with
Corbin or something?
Corbin. Yeah. Like that doesn't make any sense because they had no chemistry together. So I do want to see the person that this bombshell has the most potential with. I want to see if they can steal him from that couple. But this happened last season too, and there wasn't even a delay. But like, nevertheless, by the time we got the results and they had their couples split up by America, things had evolved in the relationship that people thought needed to be broken up. And it's felt really bad. It felt like a bad reason for someone to go home and lose out on the chance to keep exploring a connection that was actually going well. Like, I would rather that it just be what it was here for like Corbin and Kenzie, where you still get to
100%. I agree with you. If we could do these votes, but it wouldn't result in someone getting dumped from the island, I would feel a little bit better. So ultimately, Caleb is paired with Kenzie, which leaves Corbin single. Jen is paired with Gabrielle, which leaves Bea single. And Sol is paired with Sincere, leaving Melanie single. Melanie, I think, handles this pretty well. She's in tears, but she does tell Ariana that she's happy to finally end this triangle. She's like, I think America saw something I didn't. She wishes Sincere and Sol well. She admits she really liked Sincere, but she did make mistakes in their connection. And she still thinks they have a good connection, but she knows that being in the villa is about exploring. And she says to Sol, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want the back and forth. I'm ready to just keep exploring.
This was spun by people who like truly hate Melanie as her admitting that she was like mean girling Sol.
I'm
like,
sorry, that's strange that if you weren't
to fighting? Me. They literally are fighting over Sincere.
Yeah, and it's a fucked up dynamic for both of them.
Yeah, and like she carried through on it. She stepped back from conflict with Sol in a very intentional way, and I'm going to give her props for that. Ariana then reveals that someone is indeed being dumped from the island, and the way they do it this time is not a vote of any kind. Normally they would have like the islanders vote among the people who are vulnerable. Instead, Corbin gets to choose one of the two single women to save by coupling up with her. So he was made equally vulnerable as them.
But he has all the power.
He has all the power.
Two women bombshells. And obviously he's going to choose Melanie because they have a bit of a vibe.
He put a ball in her court. She is the only other woman he wants to ask, can I get a kiss to, in the whole villa. And Ariana asks Mela if she thinks there could be something there. And she says, we believe that now they have no choice but to see if there is. So inspiring.
Yay. This, of course, means that Bea is going home. And I think the people were really sad to see this. Bea gives a whole speech about how much this experience has given her and how the friendships will stay beyond the villa. And Bea and Gabe share what at the time was like a real tearjerker of a goodbye, all in Spanish. I was like, wow, I was really feeling emotions. Yeah. By the 5 minutes into the next episode, he's over it.
It's the Hannah and Charlie of this season.
It is the Hannah and Charlie where you were like, oh my God, this is such a tragedy.
Yeah. I think that Bea and Gabrielle had a lovely connection. They're attracted to each other. I think that they also found a certain comfort in coming from a similar culture and from understanding certain things about each other that maybe other people didn't. And that can all continue to be real, even if he's not like, I really want to pursue a romantic relationship with her over and above anyone else.
I mean, it's not like I wanted to see him or expected to see him like leave the villa.
Right. I saw some people suggesting that, and I was like, they've been dating for like 3 days.
Guys, please. They're on Love Island.
Yeah, I don't think they're ready for that kind of commitment.
No.
I was really bummed to see Bea go. I think
Me too.
it was a bummer that the first woman dumped from the villa was like such a groundbreaking like representation of disability.
And I think
on the
people
show
really, really loved her. And like she's
Yeah.
been getting her flowers, which I have loved to see.
I have more critiques of Bea than some of her biggest fans, but there's also a lot that I really love about her. And like, she's also, I think, a great character. Like, she popped from the very beginning, and I was not expecting to see her and Sean. Who would have guessed from their first like immediate connection that they would be the first two people to go home?
Yeah, I might have guessed Sean. And I think with Bea, again, it was the result of this like musical chairs.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't happen to have a connection with someone who was in a position to save her, which was specifically Corbin. Yeah, I think it would have been so much fun to still have her contributing to the social dynamic.
I know,
I would have loved to see how some of those relationships evolved for her.
I would have loved to see Bea and Casa. That's all I'll say.
Oh, what a loss.
So we did watch After Sun, which is episode 10, because our girl Sierra Miller is the co-host alongside Teffy. And unfortunately, or I guess fortunately for the show, unfortunately for recappers like us, Sierra and Teffy have made After Sun relevant, and the format has been changed in a way that like makes it more germane to the conversation. They kind of framed what they want to do with After Sun as humanizing reality stars and really like digging into the big conversation. Sierra has very much welcomed viewers. She was like, I'm on Threads. Like, send me things that you want me to tell production.
Love it.
It's like, I will be the liaison.
Yeah, I will admit I'm not in the best position to compare to how it was done before because I always have skipped After Sun, but I was seeing enough people talking about stuff that Bea and Sean had said and how it affected their perception of storylines that I was like, okay, I really do have to watch this time. And so we see Sean and Bea like getting their phones back, seeing their Instagram DMs, talking to some people from home, which I thought was really
super interesting.
Revealing. Yeah. Sean was really upset to see the comments his Bethlehem mayor made about him choosing to go on Love Island. And he's like, I told them all where I was going, and they told me to put in for unpaid leave, which I did. And they
now
didn't
they're shitting
want me to do it. But it sort of seemed like they were kind of like trying to get him not to do it. And he said that he was definitely going to do it regardless of what they said. So I can sort of see both sides in the sense that it seems like they made it clear at the time that their position was no, but he had to put in for unpaid leave if he wanted to do it. If you want to go on Love Island and make out with beautiful women,
I support his right to go on
that.
Love Island. Personally.
Leave your police department. Go make out instead. Make love, not war. Sean's mom talks to him on the phone and says she thinks he missed out on a connection with Aniya.
So interesting. And when he's talking to Sierra and Teffy, it feels like maybe he agrees. Like he is clearly harboring a crush on Aniya.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because we didn't see any of this really from him in the villa that I was like, is he playing it up now as a fun narrative for himself? Or is this like a real moment of discovery? Because he keeps being like, you know what? She is my favorite person to talk to. And she does have the best fashion. I just love everything she wears. And I was like, wow, this really came out of nowhere. But I love that for him. And he has a lot of like thirsty DMs, I think.
I mean,
so that
yeah.
His sister talks to him and she's like, don't worry. So many women want to be a stepmom to your son. You're going to be just fine.
It's like, okay, girl, it's actually also okay if Bea does not want to be a stepmom. That's actually allowed.
Why don't you be a stepmom to your brother's kids if you think it's so important? Bea talks to friends from back home. She learns that the internet has decided she's gay. Must have been fun.
Yeah, I did see that was a discourse. And she's like, look, people love to put female athletes into that box. And she's like, I'm just a tomboy and I love dick. And that really made me laugh.
I've seen her diving in for some Gabrielle tongue. Okay, yeah, I believe it.
I said, look, it's a curse to be hetero, and she just might have that affliction.
You don't have to present as stereotypically feminine to be a heterosexual woman.
That's the thing.
She's also, I thought this was interesting, shocked to learn that everyone, including her friend, hated Gabrielle. And when her friend is like describing how he came off, she's like, that's so strange. Like, he's not really like that. He's not so sexual all the time. He's really interesting to talk to. Like, he's learning computer science. He speaks 3 languages. Like, he's a very interesting person. And I thought this was really revealing. I was almost surprised that production left it in because it suggests that they are boxing him into a Latin lover stereotype that is really easy for them to lean into and play into, but is problematic.
Yeah. I'm also like, has Bea changed her mind since seeing all of the tongue?
Well,
I'm like, I think he's both. He's both very interesting and a real horn dog.
Well, he's clearly a real horn dog, right? Like, no argument. But I think if you cut out everything else from someone's character, it makes them seem like they have nothing else to offer. And to do that to one of the few Latino people on the show.
I mean, it definitely, it's telling. This is also when my suspicions were confirmed that Bea hates Melanie because she repeatedly makes comments to Teffy and Sierra about how like Melanie was doing things wrong in the villa.
Right. She keeps bringing things back to how Melanie should have gotten the pies and Melanie did this and Melanie did that. And it just seemed like, why would you do that if you were good? You know, like she's still clearly really mad that Melanie walked away from that conversation. And I thought that they had talked it out and buried it. So to still have that like heatedness about it was surprising to me. But she doesn't really have any other examples to point to. I think she just really doesn't like her. And I actually think the conversation that they had when they were trying to bury it was really accurate. I do think that actually Bea is uncomfortable with women displaying emotion, partly because she was never really allowed to do that. And so she was taught that strength lies in suppressing her emotion. And she can say, oh, I think it's great that you're in touch with her emotions. I don't think she really believes that.
No, I think it makes her deeply uncomfortable. And she even admits like she felt a distance from some of the other women, even though she got very close to some of them. I think there is like a discomfort in some of these social settings that Bea feels, which is not like a fault of her own, but I think it might end up coloring her perception of Melanie ultimately. We also get a really lovely chat between Bea, Sierra, and Teffy where we learn more about Bea's relationship to her disability and her prosthetic. And she talks about the fact that like the Paralympics really gave her this sense of community and allowed her to kind of own her prosthetic a bit more. Like she used to wear a prosthetic with a skin match to her own skin. And she's since moved towards like feeling super comfortable, like showing the metal of the prosthetic and just being like, this is a part of me. And I thought that stuff like that, it was like really lovely to see on After Sun, like to get to understand outside of just the drama in the villa, like who these people actually are.
Yeah, I loved that conversation. They also discussed the fact that Bea called Sean having a kid a red flag, which his sister called Bea's red flag. Like, it's a red flag that she didn't want to be a stepmom to your child. And Bea says, I didn't beat teen pregnancy to be a stepmom.
Again, I cracked up.
Sean takes it he's like, I get it. It's fine. Like, no big deal.
Sean truly seems lovely.
Yeah. And he says he's rooting for KC and Aniya. Bea says she thinks Sol and Sincere are like the couple to watch. She like really hates
Melanie.
She hates her so hard. And also like Zach and Kayda and Bryce and Trinity. I think everyone should just be really focused on Bryce and Trinity, my faves.
Yeah, if the season was ending right here, they would be my vote for winners. On that note, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, the rest of this run of episodes.
And we're back. It's time for episode 11, and we are going to get into the aftermath of the dumping and recoupling here. Gabrielle takes several minutes to mourn Bea's absence before making out with Jen in bed and then all over the villa.
She makes the true mistake when she's like, I am not bothered at all by PDA. I was like, I am, though. I have a limit to watching it.
You consented to watch this show, and part of that show is watching women gasp in pleasure through night vision.
There's just a lot of tongue. It's the tongue. It's the sound effects.
Yeah.
Can we zoom out a little?
Yeah. No.
No.
I do think
no.
I'm hearing that on the UK version they're talking more. I wish I had time to watch both shows. But apparently they're like talking and getting to know each other. And on the US version, they're just like, can I get a kiss? Like going in tongue first.
Like I want to hear more about computer science and then a little tongue.
I'm a slow burn. I want you to slowly build up through your banter till the point where I'm really invested in watching you dive tongue first down a woman's throat.
So that's Gabrielle and Jen. Meanwhile, Kenzie is feeling torn about her new coupling with Caleb because she still likes Corbin. But also, in one sense, she feels like she got everything she wanted. She describes Caleb as a cowboy guy who, quote, talks like me and, quote, knows the places that I know.
I feel like that's just 3 different ways of saying a white guy from the South.
Well, that's the thing. This is just all felt so racially coded to me. She's like, finally, a blonde white man. But oh no, I like Corbin, and he's not a blonde white guy.
She's also concerned about the age gap, and Caleb is like, no, it's only 2 years because I'm 22 in November. I also even know when Kenzie's birthday is.
Right. Maybe she'll be a year older by then. First of all, that was funny. But also I think it's funny that she's harping on the age gap because the other youngest guy in the villa is Corbin.
Right. How old is Corbin? 22?
He's a year older than Caleb. So he's 2 years younger than Kenzie.
Also, for a man, for people to worry about the age gap when the man is older, you need to be like 7 to 9 years apart.
Bare minimum. Maybe like 15.
She's like 3 years older than him, and she's like, I can't handle this. Sol and Sincere seem immediately just booed up. Even though right before the recoupling, Sincere whispered to Mela that they would make this work like no matter what, he seems to forget that she exists the minute that Sol sits down next to him. And Sol is giddy because they no longer have to walk on eggshells because they're officially a couple. And it's interesting because everyone did seem to expect Melanie to walk on eggshells even when she was in a couple. I don't know.
Double standards. I was also quite disturbed when Sol has to sit Sincere down and explain to him how to make scrambled eggs. He's 25. He has no idea that it might require mixing.
Scrambled eggs are entry-level eggs. Like, this is the first kind of eggs you should be learning how to make.
She's like, here's the thing about scrambled eggs. You can take a bowl and you can crack the eggs into the bowl. And he's like, oh, and then he does know what a whisk is. I'll give him that.
When she's like, I have like a hack for scrambled eggs. It's making them the correct way where you crack them into a bowl. It's just the most normal ass way.
Like, teach men the domestic arts. Send
we got to bring
home
back
ec.
home ec as a required class for all men. Mel and Corbin also chat. They both agree they still have feelings for their former partners. And Corbin keeps telling Mel that her feelings are valid because he loves to tell women.
He loves telling women that their feelings are valid.
I think he talked to Bea before she left because that was one of her cheat sheets that she gave Zach, I think.
Oh, right.
Just say your feelings. Say her feelings are valid. Women love that shit.
And as an AI model, he's really taking that on board.
He took that in, and now whenever a woman has a feeling, he's like, your feelings are valid. Can I get a kiss? But he's like, you can't crash out if Sol and Sincere hold hands. And she's like, I won't, I promise. No one believes her. At every moment, everyone in the villa and outside of the villa is like, oh, God, can you imagine how bad Mel would crash out if that happened? And then it happens and she doesn't crash out. And they just don't update their perception of her at all. Meanwhile, Sincere is telling Aniya that he wanted it to be Melanie so bad.
What? Did you? This man is diabolical.
Melanie and Sol hug it out in the glam room and agree there's no beef between them. Mela asks Sol if she and Sincere kissed again after the recoupling, I think. And Sol says they did. And Mel's like, okay, so he is lying to me again.
Right.
Because he was like, I'm still going to
commit to you. We're going to work it out no matter what. Melanie talks to Corbin and she's like, look, today was just hard. I'm really sad. I'm really overwhelmed. This isn't about you, but I just need to sleep not in that room. So she goes to sleep by herself in soul ties. And later, KC says that Melanie did this for attention.
I hated this.
I was like, she knew it was going to be really upsetting. She spoke to Corbin about it, assured him that it was not for lack of interest in him, and she separated herself. Why is that a bad thing to do?
Right. Like the assumption, again, is always that she is doing things in a manipulative way instead of there being any generosity given that she might be just feeling emotions and trying to take care of herself.
Right,
and
take
manage
care of
those
herself
emotions.
and also maybe actually avoid doing something that might like upset the equilibrium in the villa.
Right.
She's
like, it's not obviously women can be manipulative. I certainly think that women do some manipulative things in this batch of episodes. Melanie has certainly done things that are manipulative. But this idea that like when a woman shows an emotion or does something in service of her own emotional care, that like you should always be suspicious and like try to find a way that could conceivably be her manipulating you, really smacks of misogyny to me. Like there's a distrust of her motives that doesn't seem supported by anything other than just a suspicion of all of her expressions of feeling.
No, I hated it. While they're in bed that night, Zach, like they're hooking up, and Zach brings up to Kayda the hypothetical situation where they've, quote, done shit, and then someone else comes in. This man is just this whole batch of episodes testing the waters for when he eventually will want to hook up with someone else.
Yeah. And I felt not great about how either of them were handling the situation because it seems like Kayda is really pushing him to be more physical than he's comfortable with. And
that also sucks.
Right. And I think that there can be this sense that men do just want to hook up and sometimes they might be holding back. But if you like really put it out there, then of course they're going to want it. So you can be pretty aggressive about it. That's not the case. Like men can also be pressured into things sexually that they don't want. And she clearly doesn't even think of it that way. She's like, we should just do it. Teehee, it'll be fun. And he doesn't want to. But also he's clearly trying to like, breadcrumb the breakup a little bit.
Like just in case.
Just in case. I do think it's the right decision that if he's not locked in, he shouldn't have sex with Kayda yet. And that's correct.
Right. But by the end of the episode, they will because they go to the hideaway.
Yeah.
So Corbin and Kenzie continue to circle each other, even though they have been ripped apart by the cruelty of America. And Corbin is like, Kenzie, I still want kisses and shit. And she does something very odd where she rejects him. She's like, you need to give that to your couple. And then we basically immediately, like he keeps being like, can I kiss your cheek? Can I kiss your hand? And she's like, no, no, no. Then we immediately cut to a shot of her telling him, no kiss is crazy. He's very confused.
And he's like, I asked for a kiss. And she's like, you asked for a kiss on the cheek. And I'm like, so did you reject him kissing you on your cheek because you wanted him to kiss you on your mouth? Like, what's happening? And like, maybe this all goes back to the fact that he asked Melanie for a kiss when they were in a couple. But what she's doing now is kind of just like guilt tripping him for being coupled up with Melanie when that wasn't really his decision.
Right. I'm just going to say, if we're looking for manipulative behaviors on the part of women.
Melanie is not going to Sincere and doing this shit, right? America paired her and Caleb, partly because she made such a big fucking deal about how he's exactly her type. Why does Corbin have to feel guilty about the fact that he has another couple now? Wasn't his decision.
No, and he also is continuing to show interest in Kenzie as well and being quite open about it. This whole thing just started to really annoy me. They do ultimately retreat to soul ties so that they can grope and make out in peace.
Beautiful. Melanie and Kenzie also chat, and Melanie tries to kind of feel out what she can do to explore her couple, which is like the avenue she's been given to find a different relationship outside of sincere without hurting Kenzie, who clearly felt that they had a friendship that precluded that sort of thing. And so she's like, I know you're not okay with us being together, but I need what she calls a green flag before she does anything. I think she means green light.
Yeah, I think she means green light.
And Kenzie is like, oh, yeah, it really hurts, I guess. But like, yeah, you can have the green flag, but it's just like really hard for me to see, but it is what it is.
Well, Kenzie is very intent on being the victim in every situation.
Like, you have two connections to explore, and they're both pretty focused on you. And you want Melanie to do what? Sit on her thumb? Like, I
don't know. Go back and flirt with Sincere. Just get out of Kenzie's way. That's what she wants Melanie to do.
Basically, yeah. I don't know. It's now I'm doing the thing where I'm like, when she displays emotion, it feels like manipulation to me, but it really does. It feels manipulative.
Well, I think if this was the only thing, it wouldn't have pinged for me.
Yeah,
but it's because of what we see later.
Yeah, there's like a pattern of behavior that really emerges where it does seem like Kenzie is constantly just like pouting and sulking about how hard this is for her so that she can kind of leverage the upper hand in every connection that she has.
Well, exactly.
Time for a World Cup themed challenge.
This cracked me up. I love when they try to be topical. It's so funny.
And I was like on my way to an actual World Cup game.
You were like, this is for me.
The first look dropped. I was like, this is for me.
And were you like, wow, this is so accurate. This is exactly like what it's like going to a World Cup match.
It was. They're wearing the little outfits, little costumes, and rubbing up on each other. Aside from that, a little bit different. So it's hosted by like a Telemundo World Cup host, Frederick Oldenburg. And he did bring some of that authentic, I'm watching the World Cup flavor to me. And so each couple has to do a series of sexy soccer-themed challenges. Like
vaguely soccer-themed. they do their best.
They have to use their bodies to like pick up and transport a soccer ball into a goal, which is just like a vase. No hands because soccer. Then they have to eat hot dogs off of a string that
they have to deep throat them. Let's just call it what it is.
Well, it looks like deep throating, but to be clear, they do also have to bite it. So they're doing some.
They're doing vagina dentata.
It's really upsetting to watch, actually. Like, I felt like I needed a shower after this.
It's very clear that these are not actual hot dogs. They're something like rancid. Everyone is ill, even biting them.
Hot dogs are already the least authentic sausage, to be clear. Like, how do you get further away?
Somehow this is further away.
Yeah, they were probably just sitting out, like, uncooked in the sun for a while. But this like activated my Catholic shame, to be honest, watching this. I was like, I need to go to confession.
It also doesn't help that they are being like sprayed in the face by ketchup and mustard colored slime. It's just like full cum shot cosplay.
Yeah. Forgive me, Father, I have sinned.
And then they end with a steamy makeout sesh in the shower, which is the locker room. They also each couple gets like a question posed to them on a red card, soccer themed, and then they have to select an islander to slime as their answer because
like showing a red card is not sexy enough. You have to douse them in bright green slime.
Because as we said, this is Legends of the Hidden Temple porn.
Yes, Zach and Kayda end up stirring up a little drama when they get the question, which player's acting like they've already won the league? And they slime KC. And Zach makes a little like speech for the answer where he's like, I think KC may have not explored someone that he wanted to explore and thought he thought it was safer to just stay where he was because he like thinks he's already like won or whatever. He can just like coast.
Yeah, and he's clearly being prompted multiple times to explain his choice. And he further explains that when Sol came in, KC showed interest. And then, quote, he didn't fully go for it because he didn't want the hassle of doing it. And Aniya is clearly deeply wounded by this answer.
I
understood why they slimed KC.
To be honest, I kind of thought they were going to slime Aniya. But I think that for the same reason that like that couple is a couple that seems really focused on each other, and that may be for lack of interest from people outside of the couple. I think that's something Aniya has struggled with, that men she has talked about being interested in don't seem to want to pursue those conversations with her. And like KC had no one behind his door. But like at the same time, that's the obvious answer is like, you guys haven't explored outside your couple. But he chose to frame it in a way that was very much like KC is the one who has options and he feels safe with Aniya. So I think the way that they ended up framing that made it seem less like this is someone who's in a couple that just like thinks they're going to coast to the end, and is more just like, this guy wants to get out there, but he thinks this is the winning formula for him. And I think that is specifically a very hurtful thing to hear as Aniya.
Yeah. And I think in Zach and Kayda's minds, they're like, it's better if we don't slime Aniya, right? Like it's less hurtful. It's not a dig at her.
I think it's also specifically because they wanted to bring up the Sol thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they were encouraged to do that.
I don't think it was out of like malicious intent per se, but I think Aniya was picking up on something here. Like she keeps saying it's not that he was slimed for this, it was the conversation.
Yeah, no,
like the way everyone was talking about
said.
it made her feel like everyone thought KC should be trying to get with Sol and she didn't know. And people don't see her as like a really relevant factor. It'd be like finding out that like your boyfriend's friends are all like, forget about her, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know that they actually feel that way, but I totally understand why that was her takeaway.
Especially because later she says something about how, like, I mean, her dad is like a famous NBA player. She grew up in wealth. She's like, I'm always worried that people just want me for what they can get from me. And so I think the idea that he might be with her because he thinks that he can win if he just like chills.
Oh, yeah, that would be like very triggering. So that night, Aniya does chat with Zach and Kayda about the challenge. And Zach tries to assure Aniya, he's like, no, like that was like kind of like my perception. Like KC has never said that he wanted to like leave your coupling, that he's just there with you to get through the week. Like he's never said that he wants to explore with someone else, but he'll just, quote, wing it with Aniya instead. But it's clear that it's gotten into Aniya's head, and she is like anxious that KC is saying stuff to the boys specifically that he is not saying to her, which from what we've seen seems fair for any of these women to be like worried about that.
Totally. And we have seen him also talk to Sol and be like, oh, I was highly interested in you. But
he
like
was interested in
got
Sol.
In there, he was like really hooping. So I just like sat back. I honestly think it was less about Aniya than it was about Sincere getting in there and Sol really responding to that.
Yeah.
So like that's clearly the case, that he has not really been upfront with Aniya. Meanwhile, Kay chooses this moment to pull Sol for a chat. It's like, yeah, I guess I haven't won the league.
I was like diabolical production here. As they are discussing the challenge and how Sol didn't want to, quote, dick ride anybody, they start playing Olivia Rodrigo's Traitor. It's like, it's perfect. And Casey's like, well, I didn't want to dick ride you. And Sol's response is that, well, you're a guy, so you should lead.
Sol, you're a bombshell.
Sol.
I do have this frustration with Sol, who seems like lovely, and she does have a very calm, peaceful energy. But I don't think that she is bringing that I'm going to step on people's toes, like initiative-taking energy that the bombshell is supposed to bring.
It's also just always a little bit of at least a yellow flag for me when someone tells a man that he needs to lead.
Yeah. Lead where? Lead how much? Lead in the home? Yeah, no, that's very true. Casey says that it's scary to leave something that's good, and Soul says it's not leaving, it's exploring. And he gives her some like smoldering googly eyes. But Aniya has had enough. So she interrupts their chat and pulls Casey. And this is why Aniya starts to get some of the slings and arrows that Melanie was getting for a while, because she starts to show her insecurities, and people do not like that. People would have preferred if she had sat back and talked to him another time. And then if she was still feeling unsure about what he was thinking, maybe don't ask about it, because leave him alone. Poor KC. Give him a break.
For me, I always think about it like tactically. Like I think that I am similar to Aniya and Melanie. Like I'm a very emotional person, and I've done a lot of work in therapy over the years to not make decisions out from a place of anxiety. So I think sometimes when I see these women making those decisions, I'm not critical per se, but I'm almost like, oh, I want to like save you from having a conversation that I worry is going to hurt you more. Not that I think it is like inherently wrong or like unstable to pull your couple.
Yeah, I just feel like we're watching a bunch of early 20-somethings like dealing with their insecurities in this environment. And I think that they're all in a tough situation. Like, I don't want to say that like the men need to be perfect either, but people are acting like he is being perfect, and Aniya is creating trouble out of nowhere and self-sabotaging. And I think that she's actually picking up on a lot of cues that he is not being totally upfront with her about how happy he is in the couple. She's like, he's not really pursuing me. He's not really like making dates for me. He's not really showing that consistent, elevated effort. And when I try to talk to him about it, he doesn't really reassure me. He doesn't seem to take it seriously. He laughs. He plays it off. And those are all these like inputs that are telling me
something is off here.
Something's off.
Yeah. So they just end up, what sucks is that they end up having this like series of unproductive conversations. And that is not Aniya's fault. It just like is painful to watch.
Yeah.
They go into the speakeasy, and he is like, has a shit-eating grin on, which just, of course, immediately puts her off. She's like, why are you cheesing? And he's like, what are you talking about? I mean, it just, the vibe starts off bad. She reiterates that she doesn't want to be a safe option for him, and that she's never stopped him from exploring. And he's like, well, you're confusing safe option with first option. He's kind of like, if I wanted to pursue Soul, if I really wanted to, I would have, but I'm just like, good where I'm at because you're my first option.
Yeah, I feel like they had an early conversation where he was more honest with her about his interest in Soul, and that upset her, but I think that was the right move. And now he's doing the sincere thing where he's like, if I wanted to, I would. But then he's saying something else when she's not there, which is like,
you do kind of want to, or you did want to. Maybe you no longer want to.
Right.
But you did.
And I think you could also try to like be honest with her that you're exploring, but also make more of an effort to specifically make her feel pursued in a way that might counterbalance that a little bit. I'm not saying like, obviously Aniya contributes to this dynamic as well, but I think that we're always quick to assume that the man is like a victim of the woman's emotions and insecurities, and not always looking at how he is like triggering some of those. And the confessional, he is like really annoyed. Like he's trying to be comforting to her face, but in the confessional, he's like, why is she making such a big deal out of this?
And this is where he pissed me off. Like he lost me here. In the actual conversation, I was like, okay. And then he's just kind of nasty in his confessional.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, if we expect Aniya to be responding only to the words that he says when he speaks to her, but he's putting out a lot of bad energy about what he thinks about Aniya, and then he's not really carrying that through directly in their conversation. So I'm like, she is picking up on something that he feels like he shouldn't reveal to her directly,
right?
But that is there. And that's really uncomfortable. Like, it's one thing that like my biggest pet peeve in my relationship is when I'm like, I can tell that you're annoyed, but you don't want to make a thing out of it. And so we're not going to talk about it. Like, just tell me. Yeah. And I hate like sensing something, but then you will deny it because it's easier to you to just like blow it off. Melanie pulls CorbinGPT for a chat because she'd like to get to know him, like all his features, all his settings. And he tells her that as a kid, he was very creative and his imagination was crazy. Believe it or not, he made a rocket ship out of cardboard boxes.
He was like, I'm going to blow your fucking mind right here. I built something with cardboard boxes. I was like, look, does sound like a lovely childhood, but that is like fairly standard.
Right. I was going to say, that's like a standard issue childhood experience, Corbin. I hate to tell you.
I'm crazy.
But I think this means he has really loving parents, which is beautiful because like they probably made him feel like every normal childhood thing he did was the most unique and impressive thing a child has ever done.
He's also like, this has been like fundamental to shaping me because now I do videography almost.
And creates little movies. And Melanie is like, well, I like writing movies. And he says, oh, so have I found my videographer?
I was like, wait, I thought you were the videographer.
Right.
Almost.
You guys need to get in the studio and hash this out.
Yeah, no, let her like do storyboarding and write the script.
Meanwhile, Kayda gets a text that the hideaway is open for the first time. Trinity and Bryce look amped, but Corbin and Sol start the calls for Zach and Kayda, and Trinity and Bryce look disappointed, and weirdly, so does Zach. And he says to Kayda, oh fuck, please don't dominate me in there. We're not doing anything. And she says, we're doing everything. Don't love that. Don't love that at all. No means no.
Kayda says she's excited for Zach to, quote, not be distracted by Bryce.
Yeah. She's
They're
like,
going
I'm do the
hard. They have
shit
seen the Bryce and Zach shippers.
They really are. It's like it's a little much. They're queer baiting. They're fully queer baiting. I think that this is a moment that usually I feel like when I've been watching the couple that they send into the hideaway, they're both really excited about it. And it felt bad to me that there's like a sex getaway that everyone else decides is happening. And one person is just like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, Zach is like very hard for me to read, but I really don't support him feeling pressured to do things he doesn't want to do.
There's a lot that I really do not like about Zach and how he is moving in this experience. But that being said, I do think that he should get to decide when they take a step like with the seriousness that people perceive going to the hideaway and like having sex with on this show. He is going to look really bad then if he is not fully committed to this couple, and he's clearly not, and he's allowed.
Right.
So I'm like, I
think other people, the rest of the house views them as like just such a locked in couple.
No,
that they're
they
like,
do.
of course, so we're going to send them.
They do, absolutely. But like that result, like if it were Kayda who was like uncomfortable with it, I think it would viscerally feel worse.
Yeah.
But it's still the same kind of thing ultimately. And it made me feel really bad. And he's trying to like be excited and like flexing and like faux humping Kayda. But like keeps being like, I'm so nervous about what she's going to do to me. I was like, oh, God, this is really uncomfortable. And that brings us to the end of episode 11. Should we get into episode 12?
Let's do it. We do see Zach and Kayda headed to the hideaway and explore all of the like hot tubs and handcuffs at their disposal.
And they're like, oh, they're probably all talking about what we're doing and whether Zach's going to do it. And Zach is like, Bryce probably thinks I won't. And then he's like, we're alone now. And Kayda says, and we're still talking about Bryce, who's truly, it seems like they don't even have to edit it that much. He is the third wheel in their relationship. No wonder he's trying to get rid of Trinity. Or Zach is trying to get rid of Trinity. They seem to hook up. Although he's not enthusiastic and we don't see anything very specific, he like throws her on the bed and she says, I love a guy that throws me around. And Zach gives a deep sigh of resignation.
That's exactly what you want from your man.
Did they pretend? Like, I was like, I don't think that he really actually wanted to do this. And we don't see anything very detailed like we sometimes see. So I'm like,
But also the hideaway, don't they kind of like retreat
I guess
with the
hideaway
cameras?
they don't. Yeah, that's fair. We see a little bit of night vision, but yeah, they usually don't show everything.
I think that's like part of the
so
deal.
Much like he doesn't want to do it that like I was like, did they just make a pact?
I don't think so.
Afterward, as they remake the bed, he asks, real talk, would you kill me if I explored a bombshell? And she says yes.
I mean, Lord.
I just like, I really feel for both of them here. That would suck to hear after what they just did. But like, he didn't want to do it. And now he's like, I'm trapped.
Yeah, I couldn't. I'm like, is he making a bad joke? Does he mean that? Is he breadcrumbing it? Hard to tell. I guess we'll see.
Up a lot.
Well, that's the thing. Later, they return and reveal that they did it, and he says, "We did everything." And Bryce responds, "I'm like, so you like went in her ass?"
What? And then he's like, "Your arms look good." What are they doing?
They're queer. They're queer baiting.
That is a really funny thing to say in response to "we did everything." Just to be clear, you didn't do everything if you didn't do anal. Okay, sorry to say that on the pod.
It was not literally everything.
Yeah, Zach is like, we went all the way. We went to home base. Corbin and Kenzie reconnect on the dock to talk about, as he puts it, the elephant in the room, which is his great-ass connection with Kenzie.
Great-ass connection. Ladies, ladies, ladies.
And he tells her, once again, that the ball is in her court.
The ball's been in Melanie's court. It's been in Kenzie's court. That ball is just moving to all the courts.
He's like, every time I receive the ball, I put it right back in your court. So you're always going to know that ball's in your court. And Kenzie does not want the ball to be in her court. She's like, you should be working really hard to put the ball in my court at all times. She's like, it makes me feel not good that you're exploring with Melanie. You're still in the back of my mind.
But obviously she wants to snuggle and nuzzle and make out with Caleb. That's allowed. But when Corbin does it, it's an affront to her.
Right. She wants to have all of the options and no one else have options because it makes her feel bad when other people have options. When she has options, that's just what Love Island is all about.
Exactly.
And people should lay off, honestly.
Caleb is watching this go down on the dock from afar, and it looks like Corbin and Kenzie are making out. They're really just like snuggling and like doing shoulder kisses.
They're doing shoulder stuff.
They're doing shoulder stuff. It's very different from ear stuff. Ask Wes Wilson all about that.
And he's pretty chill about it. He's like, oh, I don't love that, but like, I get it. I know she had this connection already.
I do actually give Caleb a lot of credit. He handles everything that goes down with Kenzie really well.
Here's what I'll say. As a person, Caleb seems like he is being very mature and relaxed about it. As a character on a TV show, I'm going to need to see more.
Boring.
You know?
Very boring.
Get in there. Mix it up. Caleb asked Kenzie twice after this, like that night, I think, and the next day, if they were kissing. And she denies it in this very sullen way, like she was caught missing curfew by her parents or something. And he tries to express that it's tough for him, but she doesn't really seem to
She doesn't care.
Much. She's like, it's hard for me because I'm supposed to be exploring both connections, and you should explore too. Okay. And he's like, everyone else is like, you should marry Kenzie. Like, I don't know what he's supposed to do.
Melanie is still sad and decides to sleep in soul ties again, which, fair enough. Corbin is like pursuing Kenzie actively. Soul and Sincere are just making out really hardcore every night. I get why she doesn't want to be in there.
I feel really like this is one of the things I don't like about the show, and similar to the hideaway pressure situation. It's like if you don't feel comfortable sleeping in the bed with a man who is,
but that's why soul ties exist. You're allowed to go there. People do it every season. Let them do it.
Exactly. And I don't think that is a character flaw, and I don't think that it's manipulative. She's allowed to sleep in soul ties. And like people didn't like it when she tried to give sincere space by exploring too much with Corbin, and now they don't like it when she's giving him space by not exploring enough with Corbin. Corbin doesn't like it either. So he confronts Melanie for not sleeping in the bed with him and says felt like he got punched in the face by that. Like he's like, you not sleeping in the bed with me felt like a punch in the face.
And Melanie is honest. She's like, it's just hard. You clearly still have feelings for Kenzie. And that makes me just want to back off and let you explore that. But he says he does also want to explore with Melanie. And he wanted to kiss Kenzie on the dock, but he didn't, out of respect for Melanie. And you know what? This works. Melanie's like, okay, fine. I will sleep in the bed with you tonight.
Right. She's like, if you're making sacrifices for me, then I'll make sacrifices for you, basically. She's like, if you're going to show me that respect, then I will show you the respect of sleeping in the bed with you. Yeah, they're doing their best to figure it out. I feel like Corbin and Melanie are both kind of waiting for the other person in a sense. Like she's like, I won't sleep in the bed with you until it feels like you're prioritizing our connection. And he's like, I won't prioritize our connection until you sleep in the bed with me. But they're trying to work through it with some open communication.
Yeah, I actually think that Melanie and Corbin are both doing their best to handle like a tough situation. Yeah.
Aniya has been continuing to spiral about KC and the way that she keeps trying to bring up these conversations to him. And instead of really engaging with her exact concerns in a serious way, he ends up just like smiling and laughing and kind of brushing her off. And the more she feels like she's not getting what she needs from those conversations, the more she keeps trying to have the conversation over again to get what she needs from it.
And then it keeps
and the more people are like, Aniya is doing too much. She's being so insecure. And KC is like, she's pushing me away. Why won't she drop this? She hasn't gotten to a place where she feels good about it. I don't know. Like, it's bothering her. So he tries his signature move with Aniya, trying to summon her over to the couch where he's reclining. He also did this with Soul the other day. He's like, come over here.
He like calls her like a dog, Soul, which Ian Sterling even points out.
Yeah. He's like, come here, girl. It's very like you're being ushered into the principal's office.
KC, no, you don't get to summon women. They're humans.
She doesn't want to talk at that moment, and he's mad because he does want to talk at that moment, and that's honestly so unfair to him. He talks to Corbin about how unfair it is for Aniya to be insecure, and then starts like bitching that they haven't been doing anything in bed at night when she knows physical touch is important to him.
No,
and
I hated.
He calls her grandma.
Ew.
This is the kind of conversation that I would fear my partner was having about me. Like, you know, like he can barely put on a sort. He's still laughing, but he's trying to say the right things to Aniya. But then when he's with his boys, he's like, she won't even put out, bro, and like laughing.
No, it's like the classic like locker room talk bullshit.
Right. The tone is rancid. If I were picking up on any of this as Aniya, like the fact that some of this is brewing in him, I too would be very uncertain and put off. She mentions in a conversation with one of her friends that he's been pushing a lot for sexual stuff. And she's like, I'm not doing that yet. I just am not comfortable. The end.
No one should have to do anything they don't want to. The end.
And we see them be affectionate. So like, it's clearly not just like, oh, my love language means you have to touch me sometimes. He wants her to touch specifically his dick. Yes. And she doesn't want to yet. Sorry. That night they finally talk again, and somehow it gets worse. He tries to convince her that it was like really disrespectful for her to say she's worried that he's just with her to coast, and brings up that she didn't stand behind his door night one. And she's like, how did this get spun on me? Like, I've picked you every time. I've been really focused on you. And finally she just leaves and tells the camera she wants him to just explore with Soul. And I thought this brought to mind something that I think is creating some of the insecurity and imbalance in the house right now, which is that until the recoupling at the end of this batch of episodes, the men have not made any decisions about who to couple with. It's been the women and it's been America. And I love seeing women have power, but I think that the inequity of how this is playing out means that a lot of these women don't really feel like their partners have proactively asserted their interest. And KC is still hung up on that night one red dot, but she has chosen him at a recoupling at this point. And so he can't really, he's like, well, I've been choosing you. No, you haven't. You haven't even had a chance to choose. That's not your fault. But she has nothing she can point to and be like, KC chose me. And I think that's distorting some of these relationships at this point.
You're probably right.
Sincere pulls Melanie. He says he never wanted to close the door with her. He was just trying to give her space and respect her couple.
Sir.
Okay. She says that she has yet to sleep with or kiss Corbin outside of challenges because she's still like sincere. And one thing I will say, and all of them do this to some extent, but she does say a different reason why she's not doing this to each person. Like with Kenzie, it's because out of respect for Kenzie. With Corbin, it's because she's worried that he's into Kenzie and she doesn't feel wanted. With Sincere, it's because she's still like sincere. I'm going to generously say that I think it's probably all of those things that make it very uncomfortable.
Is.
Sincere says it's not easy for him. It's hard. And Mela says it looks easy. And he says looks can be deceiving. Melanie asks about Soul and he shrugs and says, I still want to get to know her. But he pivots back to how much...
He downplays it so hard, though.
Or does he? Because he does end up picking Melanie.
That's true.
I just feel sometimes like he loves the toxicity. And you know those viral memes, like the trend of a woman like yelling at a guy, and then the caption or the text is like, if you see my man being yelled at by like an angry like woman in public, don't worry, he's exactly where he wants to be.
Oh, I haven't seen those, but
I guess I get way too much content about relationships where women are mean. I wonder why that is. And that was what I kept thinking of. I was like, I think he loves the energy that Melanie gives him, even when she is mad and fighting for him. And
I think you're right.
Soul is just kind of like a means to an end there, an attractive means to an end that he loves making out with. Like without Melanie trying to get his attention back, how much is he really enjoying his connection with Soul?
Right. He's actually bummed that Melanie has backed off and actually remained super calm about all of this.
Yeah, that's not the outcome that he was hoping for.
He also, I think it's notable that he has been downplaying how he feels about Melanie to Soul at the same time. He's telling her, like, I think I need to talk to Melanie for closure. And she's like, yeah, you know, that feels really fair. Like, you guys owe that to each other.
Yeah. She tells Jen and Kenzie that Sincere has been like super reassuring. He said she's the only one he's interested in exploring. Then he goes in and into the speakeasy with Melanie, a very private place to chat, and is like, I mostly want to continue keeping that door open with you. I thought you've been so honest with these women, Sincere.
Kenzie continues to just get more and more mad that Corbin isn't constantly obsessing over her and has the audacity to be in another couple, even though she's also in another couple.
Yeah.
And this means that Kenzie fully like starts a new little clique.
Yeah, several things happen at the same time, so I don't want to overread what happens because she does also have a conflict with Melanie because Melanie chatted with Corbin at around the same time that the clique breaks up. But also, a blonde bombshell comes in, and suddenly Kenzie's like, yay, another blonde, and the other blonde becomes her best friend and confidant. And then the other bombshell gets to tag along. Yeah, interesting. She's like, finally, someone I can actually talk to. A woman with the same color hair as me. They talk during the day and clearly have decided between them that Kenzie is actually a victim of Melanie because Corbin is being respectful of his couple by not kissing Kenzie. even though Melanie is sleeping in soul ties, which is just like because she secretly wants sincere, and that's ruining this experience for everyone. Like, she's not being honest with herself about what she wants, and everyone has to suffer. And Jenna's like, yeah, and you, Kenzie, you're getting the worst of it.
You're such
Kenzie
a
is getting the fucking best of everything.
I know. I'm like, Kenzie has a goddamn roster and 2 men who are putting her first.
And being like in a very respectful way. They are not like really criticizing how she's handling anything. She is getting to pout and sulk around and demand kisses and demand attention and to be prioritized. And everyone's like, yes, sweetie, because you deserve that. Because
this
you're the
batch of
best.
episodes really put me off, Kenzie.
Same. The way that she's behaving is like, honestly, what I think everyone thought Melanie was doing last week. And Kenzie tells the camera she's like tired of all the whispering about what's allowed because they should just explore to the fullest extent, like except for Corbin and Melanie.
Well, that
hurts
her
feelings.
negatively.
She's like, no one should criticize me when I'm exploring to the fullest extent by making out with whoever I want, but Melanie should sit in a corner and think about what she's done to me. When the night starts, she also says to Jen, I don't want to talk to him if he's not going to kiss me.
And she follows this up with, whose feelings like is he protecting by not kissing me? Because you're hurting mine. Clearly you like her more.
She's mad that he is giving any care to Melanie's feelings.
Yeah, he should only care about Kenzie's feelings.
She's straight up. She's like, my feelings are the ones that people should be prioritizing.
This was really crazy.
But if she was the one in that couple, she would expect to be prioritized. Like, she wants to be everyone's priority. Also, the idea that like she doesn't actually want to explore her connection with him. You could explore it without kissing. She's like, I don't want to talk to him if he's not going to kiss me. Like, how much more clearly can you say what I value about this person is hooking up with him, is his physical body touching my physical body? Like,
yeah.
Which again, like the way that she approaches her relationship with Corbin versus Caleb is so like obviously she has much hotter chemistry with Corbin, but that doesn't preclude her from also showing an interest in him as a person, which she doesn't.
Yeah.
Like to actually condition getting to know him more deeply on him kissing her every single day and night is crazy to me. So he pulls her that night, and she's just bitchy to him the whole time about how he chose not to kiss her. He prioritized Melanie's feelings over her. He clearly likes Melanie more. She's really mad about it. He should really be kissing her. It's not okay that he's not kissing her. She's like, I put myself out there and you didn't. You're not giving me signs that you like me. This is disconnected from reality.
He's giving her all the signs.
She doesn't want signs that he likes her. She just wants him to touch her. He is telling her how much he likes her and how great their connection is and how he is trying to prioritize still furthering that.
And ultimately, she gets what she wants.
Because he kisses her.
He kisses her.
She makes it clear that that's the only thing she will accept as a sign that he wants to continue the connection, which he does. So he kisses her.
And then he's like, fuck the repercussions, bruh.
And she's like, he makes me horny as fuck.
And then they agree, per Kenzie's instructions, to keep this a secret, which is so sketchy.
Yeah. To avoid drama. Oh, so you can lie. You can lie and hide what you're doing. She's been going around making a big deal about how important honesty is, but she doesn't actually care about that as long as she gets what she wants. Meanwhile, Caleb is like, at least I don't have to worry about Kenzie doing something behind my back. She's been so honest.
This did make me feel bad for Caleb. So that leads us straight into episode 13. And poor KC and Aniya, well, poor Aniya, they are not in a good place after their like multiple failed chats. And Trinity is kind of advising Aniya to just give KC some space. She's like, let him talk to Soul, see how if he wants to, see how it goes. And Aniya's like, I've never restricted him from exploring.
The one thing I will say about this is that Aniya loves to do you should explore if you want, but then if he hints that he wants to explore, she's like, why are you not reassuring me? And that is, I think, Aniya's biggest sin in this relationship. She wants the credit for letting him explore, but when he
doesn't actually want him to explore. And like, I get it, but like you don't.
I totally get it.
You would be mad.
I totally get it. And I don't think he's like afraid of her. I don't want to spin it in that direction. But I do think that it's the case that if you say you can explore, but you react really badly when he does explore, you are sending a very clear message that you do not think it's okay for him to explore. It's just like a technical sort of out you've given yourself to say you can explore.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Casey talks to Bryce and Zach. He's like, I'm over that soul shit anyways. He also says that Aniya wants him to be serious all the time, and that's not fun.
Like, point of order. I think that she actually said that she wants you to be serious for 5 minutes during a conversation.
Right. He's like,
I can't change myself for her. Sir, calm down. She said, please don't laugh in my face when we're trying to have a serious conversation.
Because I bet if you want to have a serious conversation, you would not want her to laugh in your face. You just don't like that you have to act serious at a moment when you don't feel like it. Well, sorry, she's having a serious feeling. And they start to suggest that maybe Casey needs someone more different from him in personality that would be more compatible.
Zach, what are you doing?
Zach is always just trying to put a wedge in there.
Just a little shit stirrer.
Then he's like, why isn't I upset with me? I didn't do anything. Zach and Bryce have a chat where Zach says he thinks he and Kayda are still open, but now there's a greater expectation to be closed off because they went in the hideaway and had sex. And he also says he thinks the hideaway made all the women horny.
Maybe they were already horny, Zach.
He's like, they remembered about sex. I think Bryce actually says this. They remembered about sex.
They'd forgotten about it before.
Maybe their cycles are synced. Maybe they're all ovulating. Who knows what's happening? Kidding. Bryce says Trinity wants to increase their intimacy, and they got close to banging, I guess, the night before. But he still seems to be like questioning how much she likes him. Like,
or is he questioning how much he physically likes her? Like, this is, I think, the one thing that I've just had my eye on with Bryce and Trinity is that he is a little bit more reserved when it comes to like the physical intimacy from what we see. Maybe like not at night. Maybe it's like a camera thing.
We do see them make out in this episode.
Yeah, this is actually the episode that it like turned for me and I felt more reassured because I was a little worried earlier. I was like, I just want Trinity to be with someone who's like really wants her because she deserves that. And I really like them together. So I'm really rooting for that to be the two of them.
I do also get the sense that the men are very aware of the scrutiny. We talked about this a little bit with Zach. He even says to Kayda, I think, like, in the real world, he would have banged like 10 times by now. Like, he is uncomfortable with it because he knows that he will be framed as an inconsiderate fuckboy if he does. And like in his real life, I'm sure he would just like date someone and they'd have sex a bunch of times and then he'd be like, see you never. Like, you know,
I mean, all these people, these are hot people. They just like, they just like ghost each other.
Exactly. Like, we don't need, what's the cone? Lana. They don't need Lana the cone from Too Hot to Handle. They're like, the audiences are Lana. We know there will be a punishment and lost financial opportunities.
Right. I'm trying to stay on
sleep
this show.
Together too early. Melanie talks to Kayda and tells her about her chat with Sincere. They're like buds now, which sweet. I love. She says Sincere told her he misses her and he doesn't want to close off their connection. And she told Sincere the ball is in his court. Now she's putting balls in courts because of all the lies. And
Melanie asked Kayda not to tell anyone. But of course, they do make a little pinky promise, which Soul witnesses and is like, okay, so clearly there are secrets.
Yeah, I saw some speculation that Melanie did this on purpose so that Soul could see it.
I don't think so. I just do wish that they were talking to each other because I think Soul could benefit from hearing that she is being lied to by Sincere.
Right. Well, and then Melanie also, I think, needs to hear that Soul, that Sincere is still talking
hardcore
out both sides of his mouth.
Pursuing
Yeah.
Soul. Yeah.
I wish they could compare notes, but I think that things have just gotten too tense that like they didn't have a chance to like really build any bond before they were at odds. And so they can try to be cool with each other, but there isn't that basis of trust there.
Yeah, exactly. That night, Melanie does sleep in the room. She sleeps in bed with Corbin. They make out. Jen and Gabe appear to get very physical.
Yeah. Everyone, you see like Trinity and Bryce like
Sitting
pop
up,
their
like,
heads up
what?
over.
They're
always
clearly
looking
there
for
are
the tea.
noises happening.
Yeah, the next morning, everyone's like, Jen, you had fun last night. She's like, I sure did. The next morning, Corbin makes breakfast for Melanie, but he also makes a heart pancake just for Kenzie. And I think Mel clocks this when he hands that to Kenzie. Kenzie seems like really invested now in her new girl group, Jen and Sol, and specifically Jen. They chat about how Sincere has been giving Sol nicknames, and they're like, what nicknames? And she's like, beloved. And I was like, is that a nickname, or is that
It's a term
like
of
calling-
endearment.
it's like calling someone dear or sweetheart? It's just like a generic like term of endearment. She's like, I guess I'm beloved now, that's my name.
They're also like, yeah, Sincere just has such a pure energy and pure heart. Please, please, please.
This man has a heart full of lies.
Yeah.
And an energy full of chaos. Corbin, Kenzie tells them, is still reassuring her that he's really into her. So they're like all caught up now. And Sol gets a confessional where she's like, Kenzie is like a chicken with her head cut off. She has so many options. And now Caleb and Corbin are trying to catch the chicken. And I was like, Sol, you've been spending too much time with Sincere.
Yeah, you're getting caught in some whack ass metaphors.
Is he coaching you in your confessionals? Because do not listen to a word he's saying.
But while Sol goes off to presumably give this confessional, Kenzie is like, great, now I have my one other blonde white woman next to me, and we can really bond because I have a secret. Me and Corbin made out last night, and she specifically says, I'm not telling Sol because I trust you. Very notable to me that the one person she's decided is really trustworthy is the other blonde white woman.
Yes. And we talked about this a little earlier, and also like offline we talked about this, but like there are a couple factors here, one of which is probably that she knows the other women in the house care about Melanie and will call her on how selfish she's being and the double standard that she's working with here. They know the standard that Melanie was held to. They know how much Melanie is struggling. And she wants to like gloat about Corbin and complain about Melanie. They're not going to hear that. Also, it is like very much the case that the minute a blonde woman walked in, she was like, one of me. We are friends. We are friends.
I saw some people being like, oh, Sol's included in this clique. Does Kenzie not realize she's not white? And then they saw this scene and they're like, oh, she does. She realizes.
She's included to an extent, like, but there's a hierarchy, and it's just like suspicious.
It just made me feel
how it
like
operates.
very unsettled, to be honest.
Same. It was like so blatant that
Beyond.
It was confusing. And interesting to like also compare to like the summer house of it all, like the way that the friend of color can be included in the group, but then there's a certain level of like intimacy and care and trust that like she reserves for Jen.
Ugh, I hate it.
Sincere tells the boys that he's now very torn between Sol and Melanie again.
He's so torn that he's in pain.
That pure heart is just ripped in two right now. Two pure pieces.
He's like, gun to my head, I wouldn't be able to pick. Like, no.
There's not even gonna be a gun, and he will pick.
But also, like, that's the thing about gun to your head.
Right.
You have to pick.
And all he needed was a producer being like, you can only write a letter to one woman. And he was like, got it. I will pick one.
Metaphorical gun.
I would die before choosing, but mess up a challenge on Love Island? No. Later, Sol chats with Sincere and praises him for being so honest, which, like, you can't say that because you don't know whether he's being honest or not. You're not talking enough to the other women to understand that.
She's just like, I think, feeling kind of smug at this point. She's like, he's so honest because when he says it to me, that's honesty.
Right. I think that there is a narrative between them and around the house that like she creates peace for him. And so it's a safe place where he can be honest. And guess what? He's still not being fucking honest with her. So maybe it wasn't Melanie's fault.
Well, it's probably because, as he says, he's never experienced a person like her before.
Yeah, that was weird. The way he phrased it, like she's like a carnival ride. He's like you're an experience I've never had. But I guess maybe he just means like I've never dated someone who is like calm and reserved, because it seems like Melanie is more his type. Corbin and Melanie chat, and she admits that the heart pancake made her feel a little weird, made her want to back off, let him pursue his connection with Kenzie. Again, I feel like people are reading more into breakfast than they have.
You're like, let breakfast go, babes. I mean, like, but to be fair,
he's still connected to Kenzie.
Right. Nothing has actually changed. Meanwhile, Kenzie is busy gaslighting Caleb about vision.
He's going to get glasses after this conversation, thanks to her.
He's like, oh, I have like really like better than average vision, 2013 vision. And she's like, no, that's me. I have 2030 vision.
And he's like, no, I think that the lower number afterward means that I can like see more at a further distance. And she's like, no, because 2030 means that I can see at 30 feet what other people can see at 20 feet. She's like, I was in nursing school, bro. Okay, this is what it is. And he's like, oh, okay, I guess I was wrong.
He's correct, to be clear. Right.
Does she not know that she needs glasses?
Right, she has slightly impaired vision. She needs to be told. Like, very slightly. Like, she doesn't need to wear glasses all the time, probably, but maybe she should get them for driving.
I don't know. Like, how bad is 20/30 vision? I didn't go to nursing school.
I looked this up. It's like very, very lightly impaired vision.
Okay. So
yeah,
maybe
like she can see. She's not like I have bad vision. I need to be wearing corrective lenses all the time. That is not Kenzie.
That actually makes it plausible that she does believe she has better than average vision.
No, yeah, I think she does believe this, but in fact, she does not. They should be giving them an eye test to test this.
I love seeing women in male-dominated fields, and so watching her confidently mansplain.
I know
optometry to him.
That is equality, beautiful. And that's beautiful. Later, she also very confidently tells Corbin that the sound of rainfall is not white noise, even a little bit. And look, I also looked into this. I think rainfall is technically like falls somewhere between white noise and what they call pink noise. And she's right that white noise is technically like shh.
Yeah.
However, colloquially, I think we can agree that it is white noise. It is what is on a sound machine.
Let these men speak. Like, I really just feel like she's in a place where she's like, I've got these two men I'm leading around on a string. And so I can speak to them however I want. I can correct them. What I say goes. Like, if I say it, it's correct. He was just responding to her saying that she loves the sound of rainfall by being like, oh, yeah, white noise is really soothing. And she's like, that's not white noise. He's just making conversation, girly. He's just doing some chit chat with you. You don't need to like put him down. I hated this vibe. Afterwards, she says that she wants to see more of Caleb's masculine side so that she can feel taken care of. I do think that there's different elements of this, but I wonder if part of it is the age thing where she's like, being young is feminine.
I think so. She's like, can he truly lead? If he's 21.
Yeah. He's just not giving masculine man because he's not older. And like, that's something I really crave. Kayda and Zach chat as well and agree that they thought they'd explore more people in the villa, but neither of them have been interested. And he's like, it could still happen. I think maybe part of what's going on is that he realizes that as more time passes and more bombshells come in, it's going to start being assumed that he's not exploring them because he's committed to Kayda. And he's like, actually, I just am not into any of these bombshells. And I do want to maintain an expectation space.
Yeah, like we are still fairly early. It could still happen for either of us.
Is he like maybe signaling to the producers like, okay, I'll explore more. I'll give you plot. Send in my exact type again, please. Send me another Kayda.
I mean, I think they're waiting for Casa with him, and they're going to target him hard in Casa.
He's going to fold like a cheap tent.
He sure is. After this, Trinity gets a text, and the Islanders learn that there will be a recoupling. But first, they have to write a letter to the one person they have feelings for, the one person they want to couple up with. Of course, they leave in Zach saying, "Can I write to Bryce?" The editors won't stop. Aniya is happy, though. She's like, I'm going to get a chance to just really tell KC how I feel, and hopefully that does good things for our connection. KC, on the other hand, seems to think Aniya might write to someone else. Like, who?
He almost seems to like hope she will. He's like, maybe she'll write to someone else and that will give me clarity. Who else would she write to? Are we missing a huge amount of what's happening?
No, you guys just had a little hiccup. Calm down. But Melanie and Kenzie, who have multiple options of people to write to, are understandably stressed because they need the gun to the head is there. They need to choose.
Zach is stressed because he doesn't know how to write. Apparently,
so bleak,
he's like,
guys.
I've never done this. Bryce is confused because writing well is apparently in the blood of all British people.
He's like, aren't you Shakespeare?
I was like, first of all, don't love the race science element of this, Bryce, sweetie. Secondly, Zach is famously a Greek god, so maybe he's more in the oral storytelling tradition. He loves to tongue wag, but he doesn't so much love to like set it down. Now I'm doing race science. My apologies. Anyone can be really good at writing well or not good. Corbin says in these moments he blanks out and has no thought.
This is in like the same episode where the men make a joke about how he is like rebooting at one point.
Right.
So the evidence is mounting that he is in fact an AI model or a robot.
Yeah. You know what? Despite that, he's been growing on me. Like he's
I know
not
somehow
handling
Corbin
everything
is like
perfectly.
coming off one of the best of all of the guys. The bar is in hell.
I think he's like genuinely into Kenzie. He's trying to learn and grow and like be respectful of Mel. He did lie to her about making out with Kenzie at the end there. Didn't love that. But overall, I'm like developing an affection for him and his ChatGPT
really
speech.
sweet robot.
I think he gives like very classic himbo. Like you're like, I feel the gears turning at all times, but he's like
they're
kind
working
of
so
lovable
hard,
and sweet and huge and handsome.
Yeah, I know. I think that's correct. He is himbo meets AI. Speaking of AI, the women are all really upset that they don't have access to ChatGPT because how would one write a brief letter without ChatGPT?
This is why you can't use ChatGPT to cheat on your high school essays. One day on Love Island, you're going to have to write a love letter and you will not know how. Although, I mean, honestly, they do have access to ChatGPT. Corbin's right over there.
He's short-circuiting, Claire. He's not going to be useful to them.
He's going to write a letter for each of them that's just like, your feelings are valid, and I put the ball in your court because I have a great-ass connection with you, and your feelings are so valid. Ladies, can I get a kiss? And Sincere's reading this letter just like, what?
Glitch, glitch, glitch.
Ariana arrives with fake tiny bangs, and I love bangs, but these are not working for me.
I agree. Look, I do like that her stylist takes risks. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't.
I feel like they sometimes with the fake bangs, they try to make them more PC so they look more natural, but you can go too far. And
there were
circles back around.
I agree. But she's like, I'm here to deliver the mail. And she explains that each Islander will have to stand next to their individual mailbox. Each person will open their mailbox, and if they have mail, they will read it out loud and reveal who it's from. If a boy and a girl have both written a love letter to each other, they will be coupled up. If someone's mailbox is empty, that person will become single. So we start kind of couple by couple. Trinity and Bryce go first. Bryce has a letter in his mailbox from Trinity. Trinity gets a letter from Bryce. They're officially recoupled. We love them. They're adorable.
Their letters were really sweet. I actually got like a little bit emotional.
They were. I'm so sorry. We do not have time to go through all the details of all the letters, but they were
absolutely
quite
don't.
sweet.
But I do want to say it actually, I think their letters gave the sense that they have gotten to know each other really well, which is one of the things that's really sweet about their connection.
No, it made me very happy. This episode actually really solidified that I truly believe in them as a couple, and I feel great about rooting for them. Jen and Gabe, I'm so bored by, but they do get letters from each other, so they are also recoupled.
Yes.
Aniya and KC are third. KC has a letter from Aniya, and she does a whole like fairy tale theme, Prince Charming metaphor, extended metaphor. And, you know, it's very, very lovely and very, very sweet.
And she says some things I didn't entirely believe, but that she clearly wants to be true. Like, I tend to overthink and spiral, but you make me feel safe. I feel like you can read my mind. That seems like the opposite of what's been happening in their dynamic the last few days.
I feel like she's trying to just project confidence in their connection to get them back on track.
Yes. She says, this is where she says that like her past makes it hard for her to believe that someone could want her for her and not like what they can get from her. And she just wants them to like continue like walking through this fairy tale together.
Yeah. There is a moment where Casey has some sort of reaction to what he's reading. It's unclear if like in the generous interpretation, he's getting genuinely emotional and kind of like choking up, or if he's trying to stifle a laugh. And it's truly hard to say.
Yeah. I think we read it totally opposite.
I think I am a sucker, and I was like, oh, he thinks it's so sweet. And Claire was like, he was laughing at her. And I'm like, oh,
I don't
no.
think he was, to be clear, I don't think he was laughing at her. I think that I was primed by the fact that he approaches a lot of serious conversations with sort of like uncontrollable laughter.
Oh, that like sort of like inherent discomfort that makes you giggle at
right.
you know, opportune moments.
And he's reading a letter about how he's her Prince Charming and she's a princess, and like they are falling in love in a fairy tale. And like that seems like the kind of setting where it actually makes a lot of sense to me that he would sort of have this involuntary laughter reflex, and then he seems to be trying to like really mask it because he knows that would be super mean and he doesn't actually want to laugh at her. That's kind of how it came off to me.
Yeah, I think that is very, very possible. But after he reads the letter, he says that he and Aniya haven't been seeing eye to eye lately, but the letter just made him feel really, really good. And Aniya does also receive a letter from KC, and he writes some really lovely things. He says that they've built something special. He calls out her beautiful dark skin complexion, and he says that he learned to use humor to escape from a hard childhood, but with her, he wants to share things that really matter to him. He writes that no relationship is perfect, but he's grateful for every moment that they've shared. So they are officially recoupled.
I thought this was so interesting. A lot of these letters are pretty just like whatever, generic. They each shared something about how their past shapes how they show up in relationships now that I think is really important. And it's done in a format where they're both ready to receive it because they don't have to like kind of respond right away.
I mean,
they
the
both
letter
kind of
format is actually very smart for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I loved this challenge as a recoupling.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
And I loved that they both got that context that like, oh, when he turns to humor, he's not trying, it's not personal, right? Like he's reacting to his own conditioning, and he hears like, oh, she's on the lookout for signs that I'm not taking her seriously.
Right.
And so she needs me to show up maybe differently to allay that.
I'll be very curious to see how and if this shifts like the tenor of their relationship.
Same. Next we have Kayda and Zach. They have letters from each other. They are recoupled. The end. Kenzie and Kayla. This is where things get really spicy because Kenzie gets 2 letters, of course.
Of course, I knew.
The first one is just like, I love your eyes and your bubbly soul, and you lift my spirits around the villa. It's from Caleb. So the second one is clearly from Corbin. He writes that the minute America broke them apart, he knew they had something not worth giving up on. This is a funny moment to point to. He's like, before that, but once you were taken away from me, we know that Corbin wants what he has denied.
That is true. And Caleb opens his mailbox and he has 0 letters there. So this means he is single.
Melanie and Corbin are next, and he gets 1 letter from Kenzie. She writes that they had a strong connection off the bat. She loves his heart-shaped pancakes and his deep voice. Being away from him has made her heart grow fonder for him. She says, I miss our time together, but most of all, I miss you, which is a kind of distinction that really makes me ponder what the difference is between missing time together with someone and missing that person. I've always thought of them as kind of the same thing.
Well, she's like, the time together is good, but I miss your body.
Your body. And Caleb is graciously like, yeah, if that's what they want, that's wonderful. Good for them. Melanie clearly didn't write a letter to Corbin, so she's chilling.
And this means that Kenzie and Corbin are a couple. Again, they're back together.
Yes.
And this leaves us with a love triangle between Melanie, Sol, and Sincere. So we skip over Melanie's mailbox and head straight to Sincere's because obviously he has also received 2 letters.
And the first one is like a sort of semi-rhyming poem from Sol. And it's all about how sweet their kisses are and how he calms her nervous system. And she's sincerely interested to keep opening our next door.
Get it?
The minute that I heard you calm my nervous system, I was like, it's obviously not Melanie.
Yeah. The second letter is from Melanie. She writes about how she fell for Sincere so quickly, how she laughs with him. She's loved learning about his family. And she calls out that his favorite birthday memory was being with his family around a Sour Patch Kids cake.
Shaped like Sour Patch Kid.
Yes, that's how I interpreted it. Some people required further details.
I mean, Sour Patch Kids are like a flavor of candy, so it could have been made of Sour Patch Kids, or
it could have
flavored
been
like Sour Patch Kids. Since they got broken apart, she's been wanting an opportunity to tell him how she feels. She apologizes to him and says she wants to try again. She sees a future with him outside of the villa. I had to say, the contrast between these letters was really stark.
Yeah.
Like, Melanie just clearly knows him so much better.
I mean, they did spend a lot of time together, and it did start to make
Yeah.
me kind of bummed out that we actually didn't see any of these conversations.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like part of the way that like characters end up villainized sometimes is because we only see the most dramatic things they do, and it's like,
and it
why are you
seems
doing so much for this?
unjustified.
Right. But it's clear this is a moment for her to kind of demonstrate we actually spent really meaningful time together and really know each other, and it's not just like, I think you're cute. You know?
Yeah. No, I thought it was really, really sweet. And at this point, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe Sincere is going to give his letter to Melanie. Because I did not, up until this point, I kind of didn't think he would. But Sol opens her mailbox first, and it is empty. She says she's disappointing, but she had an inkling. She's like, women's intuition. And this means that she is single.
Melanie opens her mailbox last. Obviously, she has a letter. Sincere
Oh my
opens
God.
with one of his
He really tries
trademark
to do
metaphors.
something here.
This is a metaphor that makes sense internally, but does not make sense with the overall message of his letter. He's like, we had a connection that fell apart like broken glass. You can't put the pieces back together and expect it to hold water. You can't rewind time to before it broke. Anyway, I think we should get back together. I was like, what are you talking? What was the metaphor for? The whole metaphor is about how this won't work anymore.
Right. I feel like he could have said you can't rewind time, but you can try to put the pieces back together and build something new and beautiful. Right?
A beautiful, what's that art form where you mend the pottery with gold?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe he couldn't remember the name of it either. And that's why he
was just like, whatever. The point is, I love a fucking metaphor, even if it doesn't make any sense.
Kintsugi, I think is what it's called. Yeah, he made the metaphor. He realized it didn't work. He was like, fuck it. I'm going to go
forging
through
ahead
with it
anyway.
And he says that now this is part of their story. He's been missing her during their time apart. He can picture their first date in Philly at Penn's Landing, which is where she said she wanted them to go on a date. He says, home is where I want to be, and that's with you. Sincere's like, I feel great, but this was very tough. Two lovely women with bright and beautiful spirits. It wasn't an easy decision.
I thought he was going to be like, two women with such bright and promising futures. Like,
they're going to go far,
yeah.
kid. Yeah. Tough for Soul. It does really, unfortunately, further the impression that he was just using Soul to kind of check Melanie. And
yeah, no, it sucks for Soul.
yeah.
But I do think this was the right decision. And Melanie and Sincere are coupled back up. I was very relieved that no one was eliminated from this recoupling. Soul and Caleb are coupled up together by default. And now America gets to vote for our favorite couple.
I don't know why I was surprised, but I was really surprised to see how many people were rallying on social media to vote for Soul and Caleb.
Because, like, I get why people feel bad for them, but I personally find neither of them to be the most compelling characters on this show, and I would prefer to have compelling people on my screen.
I agree.
Sorry.
There's a lot of the sort of like, oh, well, I feel bad. They didn't get a real chance at the Love Island experience. They did. Like, it didn't work out. And they're boring to me. I'm sorry. Like, that doesn't, like, they both seem lovely. And in fact, maybe that's part of why they're boring TV.
Right. Sometimes if you're, like, a little too lovely, it's hard.
But also, look, I don't want them to, like, get sent on a date to explore their connection or whatever. They don't have one. They're not my favorite couple. I don't want an actual interesting set of people sent home because people feel bad that Soul and Caleb didn't wind up in couples after they came in.
I'm sorry.
That's how the game works.
I
People
agree.
get sent home.
I agree. And that is the job of a bombshell. And it's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I do feel bad for bombshells. Sometimes I think the discourse has like shifted around too much to the point where it's like, if you're an OG, you should just like lie down and let the bombshell walk over your broken and bleeding body to her rightful position as like the owner of your man. Like, I think that it's tough for everyone. Bombshells have a particularly tricky job, but that doesn't mean that, you know, they are entitled to just have their pick of whoever they want.
Yeah.
Forever.
I mean, I personally just don't, I'm going to prioritize people that I find interesting and compelling. That's what it is. But everyone has the right to their own vote. And that is where the episode ends. And before it fully wraps, we do get a really like heart-wrenching tribute to James Barker, who's the post-production EP, who died a few days ago in Fiji, like while in the middle of the show being produced. It seemed like a very like sudden medical event. He was only 40 years old. His partner has like released some incredibly heart-wrenching statements. I mean, it's just truly a tragedy, and I really feel for everyone on the crew of this show who is working at like fucking breakneck pace and simultaneously like grieving. I mean, some of these people have worked together for years, so
yeah,
I
really
literally
can't even
did
imagine.
burst into tears seeing this tribute.
No, it's awful, and it is also this unsettling reminder of just like how like things keep moving, you know, capitalism waits for no man, and they clearly can't just like cancel the show. They can't like pause production because of the way the show works. And yet like it just seems so inhumane that people are working through this like traumatic event and traumatic loss, and at this really, as you said, like breakneck speed to produce this show. It's a very intense process, and you have to imagine that it's just like they're not having any space to really process that. And it makes me really heartbroken that they're all grappling with that in the middle of this production, and the world just like keeps turning, you know. It's sad.
It is.
So we just want to take a moment to talk about that and the great work he has done and the legacy he's left behind. And I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's getting support on set. And yeah.
So I guess we will be back watching a few hours after you hear this episode.
Yeah.
Because on Thursday, presumably, we're going to see the results of our votes, maybe?
I'm really nervous.
I'm nervous too.
We'll
see how they're used. We never know how they're going to be deployed. But we will be watching. And on that note, that is it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to our channel.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Kanice-Smith, who also edits our video. This episode's audio was edited by Tamika Weatherspoon. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like our show, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, spread the word to all of your friends about Love to See It.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and on Instagram at claireandemmapod. And you can find our newsletter, Rich Text, on Patreon at patreon.com/richtext. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram and Threads at EmmaLadyRose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey, Eric Donnelly, Peter Arriaga, Kate Rose, Moira Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Schuff.
We'll be back soon.
Can you keep